What is up, guys? It's your boy here. It's been a while, and one of the reasons why is, I don't know if you can tell, but I've been kind of like sick with a cold, I guess, under the weather for like the last month. So, yeah, I actually recorded something about this prior, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna redo it because, I guess, the whole Reni, like, Gravure, like, debut sort of thing. Oh, man, there it goes. It really, I had a lot of time to, like, think about it and, revisit it a couple times since then. And I have some more, I guess, seasoned. I've had time to think about it, so I apologize. This video is a lot later than I intended it to be, but it happens sometimes. Just so that you're aware, I'm not gonna be using a lot of images from this photo book because it's published by Shueisha, and if you know who they are, you know their reputation when it comes to copyright, and I don't want to mess with them. So because of that, bear with me here, but I do have some thoughts about this, and I've been saying that I had things to say about it for a while. So here we go. Video part two, version 2, like the definitive edition. All right, so Reni released a photo book with Shueisha. For those who, have not known since like June or July or whenever it was announced. And the photo shoot was done by Shueisha, who is the company that runs the weekly Playboy series of magazines, which are pretty integral in the culture of idols. And so, coming into this, when I heard that Reni was doing it, I wasn't necessarily surprised. However, at the same time, if I were to, now having had both, I got the magazine issue featuring her as well as the photo book itself. And if I were to go back and tell myself, 10 years ago, or, whenever I became a momoclo fan, and I showed that to myself and be like, this will be what the purple one is going to do in 10 years, I would probably have... Well, I probably wouldn't know what to think 10 years ago, but like, I don't know, anytime between then, definitely. Well, up until maybe around 2020, I would have been like, what the bruh? So yeah, it's a pretty, it would be pretty surprising to me. But then, like, as I said in a previous video, it came to a point where I was like, if anybody's going to do something, it would probably be Reni. She's doing kind of more risque stuff. There's like outfits where, I mean, she was showing like midriff more, and like, just showing more in general. And so, this being announced when it was, especially after the whole marriage thing, I really wasn't that surprised. And I was actually in full support of it. And in fact, I still am. That hasn't changed at all. In fact, nothing about anything has changed, as far as like what my thoughts are about like Reni or opinions about like what she's done, other than that I think she's kind of like on the cutting edge in that regard. But, yeah, so getting this Gravure thing, and actually like looking through it, I was really kind of, it was a surreal experience, even though it didn't really like surprise me when it was announced. Getting it and actually looking through it, sometimes it just felt like I was looking at images of like a model in a bikini with Reni's face sort of like photoshopped over it. And that's not to say, and I don't mean that in a negative way or anything like that. It was just like that surreal. And, yeah, okay, I guess I'll talk about the photo book first. Yeah. And the photo book has a lot of images. Of course, I don't know how many people listening to or watching this video have gotten the photo book by now. I know it's been a couple months since it's been released. But, shoot, actually, wasn't it released at the end of August or something? Or the beginning of September? Somewhere around there, I think. But anyway, when it was, when I was looking through it, Shueisha, well, I had some mixed expectations, I guess, because the thing is, when it comes to Reni, she has a certain type of personality that at least I understood her to have before this whole thing happened. And so I was kind of curious about, how she would pull something like this off. A lot of times these gravure style, like, what is it? Gravure style, magazines, photo books, DVDs, or whatever, there's a certain style of performance, and I wasn't sure if that was really in Reni's, like, character to do. And in fact, she doesn't really pretend to put on a show like that here, at least in this photo book. And she's very much still kind of like Reni. And if I were to tell myself that before this came out, I'd be like, okay, so it's probably going to be kind of almost feeling like kind of a fish out of water, kind of mismatch sort of thing, because, you have like what you understand to be, Reni as an entertainment personality, but now she's in like, in outfits. I mean, there some of the costumes, man. There's one where she's only in overalls. There's one where she only has like a white dress shirt with nothing underneath, and like in a bathtub, with just bubbles, and covering the vital areas, all that stuff. And you think about that, and you think about like Reni being the way she is, and you're like, well, it's gonna be like a complete mismatch. But it turns out that the way this was directed, and Shueisha they really do have a way of picking the right directors or photographers or whatever for this, because they really were able to capture Reni's essence in these scenarios, kind of like in a natural way. It didn't feel like a mismatch at all. It just felt like we were seeing more dimensions of Reni's character, and because of that, I thought that it was pretty impressive. I will say that at some points, again, the surrealness of it, I didn't think I would see Reni in a bikini. I didn't expect to see like Reni cleavage and lingerie and like side boob, but like I didn't that kind of blew my mind a little bit seeing it, because I'm just like, this is a real thing, but it's not I'm not reacting negatively. It's hard to explain, but I feel like people probably know what I'm talking about. It's just like surreal. Of course, it's not all just stuff like that. There are only a few. There are some instances that feel, I guess, a little bit more on like the erotic side, but there are a lot of other instances where it feels like, really what we expect from Reni, I guess. Like, she went to Thailand, and one of the big tourist attractions there is like the market on the water and stuff, and she tries on a lot of like outfits that are popular in Thailand, and she looks really good in them. My favorite series is probably the one where she's in like the purple, like, what I think it's like a 2-piece thing. I don't know. It's really good though. She looks really good in that, I think. She really rocked that outfit, at least in my opinion. I mean, she does well. She rocks all of the outfits, of course, but that one in particular really stuck with me. So, but yeah, and like there are a lot of beach scenes and all that stuff. But yeah, it was just kind of like surreal, but like really well produced. And that's the thing about like the Shueisha kind of like stuff in general. A lot of their gravure stuff. I mean, I have a whole history with looking at their content and stuff. And every time they find a way to, keep things feeling fresh. And that's a great segue into the specifically the DVD feature in the magazine that came out before the photo book. I didn't really bother to get the limited edition. I know it was a thing. I didn't get it because it wasn't readily available. I know I can still get it on Amazon, but I kind of don't really need the clear file. Or what was it, a poster or clear file or something? I can't remember. One of the two. I didn't really need that. I already have that's a different story. A poster I showed a long time ago. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really need the benefits of the limited or special edition of the magazine. But in the DVD, when I knew there was going to be a DVD featuring her, and I was thinking, well, maybe, there's going to be, her like jumping up and down in a bikini on the beach so you can, but that didn't happen. I was afraid that was going to happen because that's kind of like a low hanging fruit sort of thing, especially when you have an idol, a member of an idol group that was known very famously for avoiding this kind of stuff. It would have been so easy and so tempting by someone somewhere to suggest to Reni that she should do that as sort of like the ultimate fan service, short of just, doing a complete undressing, so to speak. And so, but they didn't do that. And, that's really respectable. When you mention like the weekly Playboy magazine in Japan, I feel like a lot of people would probably get this idea that it's really lowbrow and stuff. And, to some people, maybe it is. But as far as like, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of, this is Gravure, this is just sort of like how they're, you already accept that you're going to see like a girl in like lingerie or underwear or in a swimsuit or, whatever in a very form fitting or, revealing outfit of some kind. If you accept that as like the baseline and the actions, are what affect like the rating. This DVD is actually really mild, and in fact it's more of like a tourist thing, which I thought was pretty cool. It shows her going around Thailand and doing a bunch of like touristy kind of stuff that is pretty popular to do, and like trying food, and she even has a whole segment where she goes to the convenience store and like shows her convenience store haul for that night and stuff like that. And it's actually really interesting. I actually enjoyed that. You get to see a very real side of Reni that you don't really, at least I've never seen, within the context of momoclo. So because of that, I thought it was actually pretty cool. It's very respectable, honestly. It's very, and the DVD is very, what's the word? Just, it takes Reni's personality. It's appropriate for Reni's personality. There we go. And honestly, that's really the best way it can be described. Reni doing Gravure. I mean, overall, it works. If she chose to do it again, I wouldn't be against it, and I'd probably get it. I'd most likely get it, actually. Just because it's kind of like still a rare thing for momoclo. I don't know if any other members are planning to do anything like that. I would kind of be surprised if they did. But yeah, Reni in all of her bikini-clad glory, I guess, I mean, what more could you ask for if you're lowbrow enough to only care about seeing that? But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that, and good, because I'm about to come up to my 15-minute limit. So I'll see you next time with something new, and until then,